All right, so welcome back to the channel. Now, 1 month ago, we reviewed the Aiper Scuba S1 model, and we reviewed this cleaning robot in our above ground pool. And so today we're taking a look at the Pro version of that same robot. Now, a couple disclosures before we get started here. Aiper was very clear that this is really more designed for an in-ground pool. The Scuba S1 does a brilliant job inside of our above ground pool. This is kind of overkill, but there are some features that those of us with above ground pools could really benefit from. So let's unbox this and I'll tell you about some of the features that are upgrades from the non-pro model. All right, so first off, you get a box, and inside this box, you're gonna have your charger as well as your hook for getting it out of the pool. It doesn't come with a pole, but you can attach this to any pool skimmer. Pretty easy to put it on. And this is your charger, and it says it has an output of 29.4 volts and an input of 100 to 240 volts. All right, and there it is. And right off the bat, you can start seeing the differences between the Scuba S1 and the Scuba S1 Pro. You see the sensors that it has, one on each side of the front, as well as on the back. You got your charge port here, and you have dual scrubbers, one on the back as well as one on the front, which on the non-pro version, you only have one on the front. The controls up front are also different on the pro version. On the non-pro version, you have some kind of like a little display up front where when you press and hold the power button, it illuminates which mode it's actually going to be in. I would imagine this way is actually preferable because you can see the different modes and when it's sunny, you're not gonna have a problem figuring out which one you're actually in at the moment. You have this top shell on the back here, and when you pull this tab here, it opens it up to the filter. You can see it's got a large tank there. And you also get this second filter coming in here from the front. So it's gonna be picking up a lot of stuff, and that's something you don't find on the non-pro version as well. You only have this tank. All right, so here we have the Scuba S1 with the Scuba S1 Pro. And you can see the size differences here sitting on my deck. This is the front of both of them. You can see even the tracks are a lot bigger and wider on the Pro version, and it's just a lot taller. Also, the tank on the S Pro is a lot better, and remember also with the Pro, you do get that second filter. So the pool we're gonna be trying this in here is a 20-foot by 52-inch deep pool. It's been sitting out here for a couple weeks because we've been gone traveling, and I don't know if you can see it in the video, but there's a lot of dirt in the bottom of it, and I even shook some more in off of the cover, so it should be a pretty good test to see how it does with this pool. I mean, the Scuba S1 did really good, so I can only imagine this one is going to do even better. It's just a stronger all-around vacuum. The biggest thing I'm going to be looking forward to seeing how it works with on this above ground pool is how it shimmies across the edge of the top of the pool when it's doing the water line versus going up and down like the S1 does. So let's get it in the pool. Now these are really simple to get going. We simply just turn it on. Okay, got this nice little LED light here. This blue comes on, and then on the top here we can see that it says to do the bottom and the sides. So I'm going to press it once, and you can see it's just now illuminating the bottom of the pool. And you hear that? That's the sound of it testing to see if it's already in the water. And so because of that, it's not fully turning on right now. But as soon as I take it and throw it in the water, in which all you do is just take it and drop it in, it'll eventually find that it's in the water and start doing its thing. And the crazy thing about it is it sinks down no matter how you throw it in. I've dove in with the thing, I've done a flip with the thing jumping into the pool from the deck. It still just finds itself onto its tracks. So right now it's starting about in the middle of the pool, but when it's done its full circuit of my pool, it'll be on the edge of the pool. And there are some things that it has to deal with, like this ladder right here. Normally you'd probably take it out when you're cleaning it, but I'm gonna leave it in to see if we can kind of throw it off. But you can see at the top of the water is now getting all kind of turbulent. That's because the jets are going, and there it goes. And it's actually pretty fast too. It's actually a lot faster than the S1 moves. Let's see what it does right here on the edge of the pool. Comes up a little ways, goes back down. Now the unique thing about this pool is it's one of these pools where it has, you know, it's really rounded on the edges. In fact, it's more than 90 degrees. It's more like over 100, it's like 100 degrees that it has to turn up. And the S1 had no problem going all the way to the top of the edge. So this shouldn't have any problem either. So we'll just leave it in here. It's gonna go around, deal with things like this ladder. You can see it's kind of fighting to figure out what to do there. It is a lot bigger than the S1, so getting through tighter spots is gonna be more of a challenge for it, such as around this ladder, but we'll come back and we'll just see how it does. One concern I do have though is if it will ever find its way down to this dirt here underneath of the ladder, which is arguably one of the most crucial spots of an in-ground pool if you were to leave the ladder in. Just because of its size, it's come up to this spot right here 3 or 4 times now and just turned around. Keep in mind, this would not be a problem with an in-ground pool. So one thing that I'm noticing is it keeps coming back to the same spot. And in the beginning, I was like, well, maybe it's just, it's doing a better job staying on track. But what actually is happening here is it keeps coming down here, hitting the ladder, and then it is shooting back kind of into the same path that it already has taken. And so far in about 15 minutes, it's done this side 2 or 3 times, and it hasn't done this side over here. So we're kind of heading back on a path that it's already done. This side's looking really nice and clean, but this side and that whole section over there on the pool, there's definitely lots of areas where I see dirt and leaves and everything on the bottom of the pool. So it's going back to the area that we've seen. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it on a time lapse, and we'll just let this thing go for a while and see if it does find its way back over there. So one thing that I'm noticing that is, in my case, with the pool with the ladder in it, is actually a disadvantage having these sensors on it, is that when this guy gets close, when the Pro version gets close to being able to go like underneath the ladder, like it sees the opening, like it's going to go in there, where the S1 would just go because it doesn't have the sensors to tell it there's an obstacle there. The S1 Pro sees that gap and says, I can't make it in there, and turns around. It doesn't even try to go into it, whereas the S1 non-Pro would just keep bumping into it until it found its way underneath of the ladder. It was no problem. The S1 had no issue whatsoever getting underneath of this ladder, whereas this guy's been here 6 or 7 times at least now and has never gone under it. And as I just watched, it came up to it and just turned right around and went the other direction. But I can see how this guy would do a fantastic job. And like I said, an in-ground pool is gonna process a lot of water, a lot of extra scrubbers and all that. But I think with these smaller pools, definitely the S1 so far has done a much better job. And again, we're seeing it again go right back to the same corner that it's been going to every single time. All right, so I'm gonna pull it out. So after watching it now for about 35 minutes, and you guys can see in the video, it pretty much only did the same little area of the pool. There is the area in this corner on this side, and that whole corner over there, it just never went to. It just kind of got stuck in that pattern. I don't exactly know why. I have a feeling it's because the sensors were kind of just throwing it off with the obstacles in the pool. But what I want to test out next is how it cleans the wall, because the difference here is it's supposed to skim along the top. So let's see how that mode works. Now keep in mind, the edge of this pool it's very much not vertical. It is like a C. So this should go up there, and we'll see if it's able to hold itself and suction itself as it goes up the edges of this pool. The C1 had no problem doing it. We'll see if the C1 Pro can do it. It's a lot heavier, a lot bigger. And it's gonna have to put on a lot more weight, hold a lot more weight up in order to get up the sides. So it just sort of stopped there. Keep climbing. Can't really see because of the glare, but the tracks are spinning, but it's having a much harder time going up. Here we go. Okay, now it's going. Had to kick in the right section. There we go. Now let's see how this does this. Is it just gonna go up, or is it gonna scoot along? There it goes. See that? Check that out. It is scooting along the top. That is so cool. So you can see it working its way along now on the edges, just doing a great job scrubbing. All right, why is it coming back? So now the only thing I can think of is that there's little ripples along the top, and maybe one of the sensors saw that over there as the pool liner is kind of pushing out a little bit, and it saw that as an edge or something, so it stopped it. So it only went about 2 feet before it basically backed into the water, and I'm assuming it's going to try going around it and then coming up on the other side. So it's trying. It just lost grip with the edge of the pool and is coming back down, and it's on a bit of an angle, but it is coming up right on the other side of that where the liner is kind of pushed out there. So again, you wouldn't have this problem with a hard side pool, but with these liner vinyl pools, you definitely are having that issue. But it went literally like 2 inches to the side of where the issue was, and then you can see it tilt sideways. One jet turns on, and now it's gonna go. And so there again, it's not going anywhere, it's stuck because there's another little tiny ripple right there. So There's one thing I can definitely conclude about this design of it skimming along the top is if you have a built-in pool with concrete sides or whatever, it's going to be great. But I think that the S1 non-pro version that goes under the water, comes back up each time in the new section that it's cleaning, is going to do a lot better because, again, it hasn't moved, it's stuck right there, whereas if it was going down and up, it wouldn't have any issue with any of this. You know, the S1 did our entire rim of our pool, no problem. And so here we go, it's coming back this way again, having not gone anywhere. So yeah, if you have an above ground pool like me and you want to use the feature that cleans a water line, definite winner on this front, again, is going to be the S1 non-pro version. Just like with cleaning the bottom of the pool, definitely the S1 version non-pro. All right, so the cycle is completely done for doing these sides. And something interesting actually happened here. What I found was when it was supposed to just do the bottom, it really couldn't do it. For whatever reasons I don't fully understand, it just did that one patch that we kept seeing it do over and over again from the ladder to that corner. But when it was focused on going up the wall and going around everything, somehow it managed to get all the areas it missed doing the bottom. So all the dirt under the ladder is gone, as well as all that dirt over there that was on the ground in the corner and never got to is also gone. So I guess what I'm saying is if you were to put the robot into full pool modes, where it does the bottom and the top, when it was done its full cycle, it would have cleaned the whole pool. But did it do a good job on the pool? I'd have to say no. When I'm standing here looking down at the pool here, I see little granule of sand all over the place down in the pool. I can't really show you in my camera, you're not going to see it, but I can see it all through the center of the pool, and it's really just kind of all over the place, aside from that one little strip it kept doing. So what does this tell me? It tells me that if you have an above ground pool, that the Scuba S1 is a perfect choice for that. And it tells me that if you have an in-ground pool, you're going to like the Pro version much better. And the reason for that being is because it can skim all along the top on your level flat concrete or whatever it's made out of pool sides. But if you have a pool that's got all kinds of weird lines and bumps in it and ladders in it and weird things like that, because the persistency of the S1 not having the sensors and just keeps going till it gets it done, and then also going up the wall and back versus shimmering along the side with really nothing to distract it, nothing that will make it get off its path, because it just simply doesn't go across the edge of the water, the S1 is much better, a much better choice for an above ground pool. So now there's a question of how much dirt and debris did we actually pick up in a full cycle for the ground and the sides. Let's find out. You can see all along there that there's a lot of sand and dirt in there. When you pick that up, you got all kinds of hair and dirt. So it definitely is picking up stuff as it's cycling the water through it. Let's take a look at the other one. And you can see even in there that there are some in there. So anything that misses, this is gonna pick up. So if you do have that in-ground pool and you really are concerned with getting your water clean and all the debris out, having that double filtration system is gonna be a big deal. So we just spray these out to clean them. And that's gonna pretty much wrap up this review. So kind of full recap here. If you have an in-ground pool and you can take full advantage of all the features that the Pro version has and you can afford that, great. But if not, the Scuba S1 is a fantastic option as well, and especially if you have an above ground pool. From the reviews I've done on both of them, the S1 actually does a better job on an above ground pool. But like I said, if you do have an in-ground, if you're fortunate enough to have one of those, you'll be able to take advantage of all the features of the Pro version that I could not take advantage of here in my above ground pool. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.